Alright, so this is Balint Cleary. You work at No One, and you're about to talk about the stuff that I couldn't pronounce. So give it a hand for Balint.
Tjena, tjena. So I'm going to talk about hierarchical permissions for Drupal 8. And what is this about? This was my project last year during Google Summer of Code. I worked together with Karo and Edeshi, well known in the community as Chicks or CHX. And the original idea came from Larry Garfield, and the project was a try to work out a concept and some implementation for the system. And I'm going to talk about this system. Let me introduce myself quickly. I am from Hungary. I have been working with Drupal since 2008. And as I said, I was a Google Summer of Code student last year. And last year, in November, I relocated to Gothenburg to join Node 1. So the permission system, what we have. We have been working with this system for long years. And I think we can agree that we have some problems with this system. First, what I would like to mention is transparency. What I mean here is that if we grant a permission to our users, in some cases it's not clear what is going to happen if those users get that permission. So that would lead us to outcomes what we don't want sometimes. And especially for newcomers, it's really hard to understand the meaning of some permissions. And there's a big issue here with overlapping. Let's think about administer content. If you grant that permission, there are other permissions in the interface, for example, the edit content permissions, which lose their meanings because the administer content permission already contain the edit action. The next big issue is fine-tuning. Let's just think about a really easy use case. We have a few menus in our Drupal website, and we would like to allow our users to administer those menus, but we want to specify which menus exactly. So the idea is that, okay, we have the menu module in core, so let's go to the permission screen and configure this. It seems really easy, so we should be able to do this. But what you find in the permission interface is only one permission, which is called administer menus and menu icons. So you can choose. If you grant this permission to the users, they're going to be able to administer the whole menu structure of the website. And if you don't want this, you need to look for a content module. You need to make sure that you choose the content module which fits best for your needs. And you need to make sure that it works as you want. So these kind of administer everything type permissions always lead us to find a content module or actually grant a too powerful permission to our users. And I would like to mention two permissions. The administer users permission and the administer permissions permission are really evil permissions because the users actually can take over the whole website with these permissions. And let's say that you are developing a website for a news agency and they have a lot of subscribers, users, and they have a huge editorial staff. But let's say that you want to allow your editors to create new users. If you grant the administer users permission to them, it solves the problem. But that means after this, they're gonna be able to access to the subscribers' sensitive data, for example. Not mentioning that they can edit the administrator password if they want. So they can do actually whatever they want. And the next thing is the user interface. If you're working on a smaller website, the user interface is pretty clear. But as As the project grows, this screen will grow with it, and what you get eventually is a sea of checkboxes, which is really hard to use. You need to concentrate when you use that screen. Let me show you an example. This is the permission screen of examiner.com. You can see it right here. Examiner.com is one of the top 100 websites in the US. And they built examiner.com with Drupal 7, and they actually launched the website before Drupal 7 was released. So I made a video about this screen. Sorry about the quality. But I think you get the point. A lot of permissions, they have a lot of roles, and it's really hard to manage. What do you think? How many checkboxes are there? Just guess.
666.
No.
More or less.
It's more than 666. It's actually it's nearly 5,000 checkboxes on that screen. And they are not even using field permissions. Let's imagine if they start using field permissions here. So, enough about the problems. I would like to talk about a proposed solution, and that is introducing a hierarchical permission system. What does that mean? Today, the modules define a flat list of their permissions, just a simple list. But in a hierarchical system, modules could define hierarchically structured trees as their permissions. And after this, a single permission would be a path from the permission tree. I'm going to show you what does that mean. This is an example about permissions around content. It's really simplified. It's not complete, of course. It's just showing the possibilities for you. And what you see is two main branches: edit content and view content. And if you go further down, you can see the content types in that level. In this example, page, blog, and article. It's actually the same with the edit and the view content. And if you go even further down, you can see the fields under the certain content type. So what does it mean? If your user has the edit content permission, that means that user can edit all the content types and all the fields. But you can narrow it down. If you want to let them to edit a specific content type, you can narrow it down. For example, edit content, article. That means that the user can edit all the fields in the article content type. And you can even specify the fields. So let's say the user has the edit content article title permission. That means the user can edit the title field in the article content type. And that's the same logic for the view content permission as well. So here's 3 examples, what I mentioned. And let's say that the user has the first one, the content edit content permission. If we are doing a user access check, which is basically for checking if the user has that certain permission, if we are doing that check, the user access function will return true for all of these permissions. Because if we are checking the third one, for example, which is the narrowing down to the title, since the user has a higher permission in the tree, because I said the user has the content edit content permission, that means that they can actually edit the title field of the article. It's logical, isn't it? So I think with this hierarchical system, we can address these issues. We solve the transparency, because if you look at the tree and you look at a certain permission, a node from the tree, you can actually see what kind of actions will your user be able to do if you grant that certain permission, because you can see the subtree of that certain permission, and you can see the actions in a really clear way. And of course, overlapping is not an issue anymore, because we can structure the permission, so we can indicate overlapping in the user interface. And as you have seen, we could easily bring field permissions into core, so we can solve the fine-tuning issue. So there is no need for using config modules for such a easy use case, like I mentioned before about the menu structure, menu permissions. But we need a really good user interface for this, and I have not talked about it yet. And that's the challenging part, because the hierarchical system itself will result a lot of permissions, because I talked about fine-tuning, so that means we're going to have more permissions in core. So somehow we really need to strip it down. So therefore, the idea is using a new concept. I call it permission rules, and that means that you have a lot of permissions on your website. And what if you can select the subset of the permissions, what you're actually going to use? So you can select what kind of permissions you will use on your website, and after you do that, you have to deal with only those permissions what are actually important for you. And the idea is that providing an interface which lets you directly assign roles to that permission. I'm gonna show you an example, but first, everyone's first thought is using a tree visualization for that. I would like to tell you why it's not a good idea. Let's say we have a huge permission tree, which we'll have if we bring a lot of functions into core. If we show that permission tree, of course we need to collapse some of the branches of that tree. So it's not really clear which branches should be collapsed by default, which should be open by default, and the user is not able to explore the permission tree easily. They won't get a clear picture. So these are the key interaction. We need to explore the permission tree really easily. We need to grant those permissions, review it later, and revoke permissions if we want. So again, using the tree visualization is not a good idea. Let me show you an idea. So this is a prototype what I have been working on. And what you see here is the permission tree, what I showed you before. You can see the two main branches here, edit content, view content. And you can easily explore the whole permission tree. You can see the content types here, content types level and the fields level. And if you choose a content type from here, you will get the fields in that certain content type. It doesn't work with this demo, but let's imagine that you get the fields here, what you have in the article. So you can choose more than one fields from here. The idea is that we need to be able to bulk create our permission rules. So we would like to provide an easy way for our users to create their own permission sets. So, and you directly can assign roles to these certain permission rules. And if you click to create, you will get the permissions here. I'm sorry, the resolution is not really good. Okay, this demo doesn't prepare to this resolution, but what you see on the right-hand side is a list of your roles. Let me try to. So let me try to resize this. Okay, sorry. So what you see here is the assigned rules on the right-hand side, and you can see the left side of the pop-up window what you get, and you can add more roles to this certain permission rule. I think you can see that, and you can actually revoke the permission from a certain role. And as you can see, there are two default permission rules here, and those defaults are the main branches of the permission tree, the add content and view content. And what you can't see in this screen is that they are actually assigned to the administrator role, and you can't change it. Because in my mind, in Drupal 8, we should provide a real super user role in the core, which means that a role which always has all the permissions. So in this case, of course, that role has the most powerful permissions, and you can't change that. But you can remove your custom permission rules from this list. That's the idea. There is an ongoing discussion on groups.drupal.org. I can see this is not really clear for you now, especially because you can't see the right side of the demo. But one of the ideas is that, for example, the content types should be, that level should be a radio button instead of checkboxes, so we can make it more clear and not confuse the user. And also we need to do something with the way how we provide the permission rules, because this list is too simple, and if we have a lot of roles, for example, it's not going to work. But there are some ideas around it. We could, for example, introduce filters for our permission rules. But one more important thing is that we can think about our permission rules as some default configuration, what an installation profile could provide, for example, or some modules could provide default permission rules, and they could be exportable and reusable if the configuration management initiative will be in place for Drupal 8. So that was a short demo of this screen. And where are we at with this project? There is a core patch for user access. It needs a review. And as I said, there is an ongoing discussion about the UI, what you have just seen. I would encourage you to go this URL and see your demo, because this resolution didn't really support it. So I hope you learn the URLs here and you can help with this project, because if we want to make it to Drupal 8, your help is really needed. So your feedback and your opinion is very much appreciated. So please feel free to join in to this work. So that was the hierarchical permissions for Drupal 8. Do you have questions? Okay, if there is no question, thank you for your attention.